is a panelist with Anantam Mayo. Let me just start introducing Dr. Aramya before we could go for this lecture series. Dr. Aramya, she is a qualified medical officer, and she is presently with the prestigious Ayurvedic Institute Arya Vaidya Shala as a research officer in the musculoskeletal department. She has been with the AVP since 2007, and she continues to be into the musculoskeletal department, into the pharmacy department. She is also consultant with all the AVP group of institutions, Ojas Ayurvedic Clinic and Saukya Ayurveda. And we are proud to say that she is a panel expert with Anantam Mind Studio as well. We had a privilege of working on breast cancer with Dr. Aramya earlier this year. And I will not take much time of yours introducing. Aramya she is extremely good with her diagnosis, and she is also extremely good with her, the skills in Ayurveda, especially all the basics and fundamentals of Ayurveda. And I'll just hand over the whole series to her. And Aramya, thank you so much for giving your time, your precious time, besides having such a busy schedule. I really hope this Ayurvedic series, all the 5 series would really be helpful for every one of us here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aparna. Thank you for the intro. And I'm really happy that a series of people who are really looking forward, I can see nice faces here. To just begin with, I'm really happy that Aparna came up with this project so that the word of Ayurveda should be taken to really the masses. It is a new word. It's a new alien word to many of the people still in India. So besides taking it to an international status, I always believe that the person next door should be aware of Ayurveda. So that is why when she came up with an idea that after the breast cancer meet, actually speaking, after that she said, we need to really work on very, very small topics, but in a very elaborate way. So I thought this was one of the best ways that we could connect to people, make them understand why Ayurveda, because it's all in our lifestyle. Let me tell you, our Indian tradition is all built up on the same ideologies of Ayurveda, but only that we need to literally understand why and what. So that why, what, when, all these will be answered, hopefully, by these 5 sessions of mine. Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to the session. Maybe I'll just take 2 minutes so that I can share a screen. I'm going to actually introduce you first what is Ayurveda. Let me tell you, Ayurveda is a group of 2 words. It is Ayu and Veda, wherein the science of life is being actually explained in a way that we can actually lead a healthier life rather than getting treated for a disease. So actually speaking, Ayurveda was intended for giving a holistic science about how you have to live rather than treating the diseases. So if you're checking any of the books like Shushruta Samhita, Charaka Samhita, Ashtanga Hridaya, Ashtanga Sangraha, these are very classical books that we refer to. And all of these books concentrate on what has to be done in our normal routine of life so as to be just to get rid of any problems that could arise. Actually speaking, I would say most of our traditions fall into all of these pictures. Whatever has been mentioned, like the philosophy, it starts with the philosophy of Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha. Dharma, as you all know, it is righteousness, that you have to lead a spiritual life connected, in which you have to make sure that you be right in your path. At the same time, you follow whatever is righteous. And I don't think I have to explain much because I see many senior people over here. And then you might be doing better than me, because this righteousness, charity, and all these words can be connected. And it has been proved also in various researches that whenever there is a Thanksgiving, or whenever a person who's suffering from a disease also is actually giving out some kind of charity, or he's actually doing something right for someone else, there has been a study which proved that the way they responded to treatment was far better. So, literally speaking, that dharma, the word has got so much to do. And I think in this era, it is that which is actually missing out. And this is one way that we have to actually start giving stories and letting out stories that could actually instill this dharma in us. It can be in any forms. And then comes the artha. Artha is actually a desire. You all of us have a desire to live, right? But how? We actually desire for what is not necessary to our life. Like taking pani puri daily is like a habit, but once a while it will not create a problem, but daily will actually create a problem, because both the ingredients are such wherein it has to actually be very customized for us. But what happens is every one of us take the same way, and each one of us have a constitution wherein sometimes it will get digested, sometimes they vomit it out, sometimes it becomes like a diarrhea. So all of this happens only because we are of different constitutions. So these, in this, the artha comes to be mentioned like you have a desire, and that desire is to be like you have to do what is right to do to get to the desire, and the selection of the desire is also very important. Kama is actually your aim of attaining it. You cannot do anything to attain the karma. You cannot do anything to achieve your goal, but you have to do what is right to achieve your goal. And then comes moksha. Moksha prapti is actually mentioned in Ayurveda and yoga also in the same way. But the spirituality in yoga is different from that in Ayurveda, because in yoga it is directly connected with the mind. But in Ayurveda, the Sharira or the body has a great role to play. And then through the Sharira, we are going to the mind. So both are interconnected, but the Sharira is also given more importance in Ayurveda, whereas the mind is given more importance in case of yoga. Okay. So coming to the topic, I don't want to misguide you like going out of the topic. I just wanted to focus more on Agni itself. Like, I'm sure that can we make it a more interactive session? Maybe one or two of you can actually unmute yourself while answering, so that it shouldn't be like a dictatorship. It would be more like interaction that would be better. So first thing is that all of us know what is Agni, right? Yes? Sure?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. So the
Yes,
Agni
I'll be
actually
joining you,
means
Aramya.
the fire. So here actually, let me tell you that Ayurveda actually explains the microcosm in us from the macrocosm. The macrocosm is the universe, wherein the Panchabhautika theory is all worldwide. And from that, we are just a microcosm of it, making us understand that we are also part of the Panchamahabhutas itself, made up completely of Panchamahabhutas. Panchamahabhutas constitute the Akasha or the ether, and then Prithvi is the earth, and then water, the Jala, and then Vayu is the air, and Agni is the fire. So all of these are very important for us in a day-to-day life also. Like for every function, all of these play a great role. It is not that it is only that Agni is going to act. No, it is actually the whole five composition in an intact manner that is working on the constitution of yourself. The physical body is mainly composed of these five components, and in that the variation actually denotes us. Myself and Aparnaji, why are we looking different? Only because of the composition variation of these Panchamahabhutas. And here actually the heredity plays a role, or the circumstance where we live in play a great role, the climate plays a great role. So Desha, Kala, everything has a role to play, because these are all helping us shape our constitution. Okay. Next comes, why Agni? Why did I take the point Agni? Because as one of us sir used to say, we all do Homa. Why do we do Homa? Because it is actually to kindle our inspiration. It is actually to kindle our inspiration wherein you understand that you have a goal and that goal has to be fired enough and it has to actually bring you to such a position wherein that fire transforms you. So this fire is actually one of the spiritual understanding that it transforms you. And the same Agni is like, you know that the Agni is a fire and it is the one and only thing that can undergo complete transformation of any material you put into it. So that's why I wanted to share some quick presentation so that I can explain with examples. For example, in a Homa, you can see that they add on some drugs to it and they add some coconut scrapings and all that, and then some rice material, all that, because it's like you are giving offerings to the god. At the same time, these are materials of medicinal value. So the Duma which comes out of it is actually of medicinal importance also. And at the same time, when you compare the Agni to the body, it is one that actually transforms any component. What you put into your through your oral cavity, whatever goes to the stomach, it also gets transformed. Now, the Agni is actually like, it is a very solid thing, but at the same time, this is the only one which can be present in liquid state also. You can understand that it can be some hot liquid that is actually melting down, which can also be compared to the pitta in Ayurveda, where we compare it to the digestive material liquid or something which helps us maintain the temperature of the body or something which helps us in transform the materials of the body. And so, like for example, there is an Agni which is present in our digestive fire, digestive system of the body, and the same Agni is actually present in very small, minute forms in various tissues of our body. Because for in Ayurveda, the same cells, we would have learned about the cell structure, the tissues, and then the organs getting formed. The same way, different understanding has been explained in case of Ayurveda. There are 7 dhatus, which we call the tissue levels, and these 7 dhatus are made up of the food material that we ingest after undergoing the first process of digestion by the digestive fire and then getting completely transformed into small digestive materials. Like, for example, the first dhatu we call it is actually rasa. Rasa means we can understand it as an expression, or we can also understand it as the intercellular fluid, extracellular fluid that is completely available in our body. So it is like you have some fluid content in our body and that can be compared to the rasa. Next comes the recta, which is actually the blood component. Whatever blood components are there in the body, that can be compared to the recta. And then mamsa. Mamsa is actually the muscular part of our body. And then fourth one is actually mamsa, medas. Medas is actually the adipose tissue or the fat content that we have in our body. And then is the asti. Asti, which is actually the bony part of our body, or which is giving the structural importance. And then is the majja, which is actually the bone marrow, which is actually pervading in every bone. And then last comes the shukra. Shukra is actually the reproductive tissue, which is actually present in both female and males. So these are the 7 dhatus which are formed only after complete digestion. And let me tell you that most of the disease occur here. Because when we say about the digestive process, anything that you completely put into fire has to be burnt. Let's take, for example, you have a wet and sloggy fuel that you have, and then you try to put fire on it. What happens? Will it really give out the fire? Or will it burn with only a smoke and then the fire will get put off? What will happen?
It will only smoke.
Smoke.
It will only smoke. Yes, it will only smoke.
Yeah.
So what happens is actually that in our body, when we compare the same fire, it will be that there is an ama that is actually getting formed. it can compare it to any of the toxin material that is slowly getting formed in a body, just like a slow poison. And let me tell you, now in this era, there are so many degenerative diseases, and those degenerative diseases are formed only because of this ama getting formed in the beginning. And what happens is, this ama is like, you have a material which is not completely cooked, and at the same time which is not getting completely burnt out also. So it's like you have that material there in the body which is not digested and which is not completely removed out of the body also. In our body there is a mechanism. It's like you take food, and then only when you attain the complete combustion, or the complete combustion of the fuel has to happen, and then only it will go to absorption level. Okay, because just like if you put wood like just like that, it has to get to become the charcoal form, and then only it will get, you can see the ashes, right? Just like that, in our body, if you put one bolus of food, it will get completely digested, it will be churned by the body, and then it will be absorbed. Whatever is required, it will get absorbed, because there is a stage wherein we call it the chyle, and during that avastha, it will actually get completely masticated, completely digested. And then happens is, you have all the liquid material getting absorbed in a very minute forms, and then whatever is rest will be eliminated out. And all this process has to happen daily, every single minute. But what happens, we are not in control of many of the situations outside the body, like various climatic conditions. In case of a hot climate, you will actually have a very bad hunger. And what happens is, like, your hunger will be like very, very slow, and you will not feel like taking food. In this avastha, if you're taking very heavy food, what happens is, it will be just like the smoke. It will attain improper digestion, and that improper digestion will also lead to diseases. But at the same time, if you have a nice hot, very cold winters, the body itself will have a temperament to have a very good digestion. The voracious digestive power will be there. That is why you can compare the food that has been taken in US, UK, and all that. You would see that they use material, or the meat itself, without cooking also they can take, because they have the proper digestion to absorb it. But what happens is, here we will not be able to digest it at all. So here actually, when we use in this pizza heavy materials which are not easily digestible, what happens is, we will get into problems. But at the same time, in case of winter and all, you have to take a little bit heavy food, because you will have voracious hunger, and if you're not providing enough also, the body itself will erode. So you can see people who are very thin also sometimes, no, that will be because they do not provide enough food. Because only when we have a proper digestive material, and then you're giving enough nutrition to it, there is an end product after Shukra also. It is called the Ojas. You would have heard Aparnaji tell my clinic name. It is actually Ojas. That means the whole of our energy level, or the divineness in us, all that is actually come out as Ojas. Ojas is actually the inner strength that we have, and that will be provided only like after you have all these properly digested material absorbed by the body. And once that is attained, the Ojas will give you the immune strength. It will provide you with the strength that you can withstand any kind of problems. And coming back now, how do we actually help in digestion? There is an Agni, there is a fire, Actually, there in Ayurveda, we have Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. So, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, to be explaining it in a very simple way, Vata, you can compare it to the air, along with actually there is a ether also, because without ether or the space, you will not have air filled. So these are the two things that is available in air, Vayu or the Vata, which is very predominant of the air component. And what is it necessary for? If you have to move your fingers, or you have to speak, or you have to think, every coordination movement is possible only when you have this Vata in you. That is why the first thing that it gets affected is you will have pain in your joints, you will have pain in movements, or coordination of your muscles will not be available when you have problems with vata. Second thing is pitta. Pitta, why is pitta necessary? It is actually one of the best things that will keep your memory vivid, and at the same time you will be very sharp enough. Pitta is such a person, it's like an acid. It has agni. It is the more the agni it has, that violent it is. But at the same time, if you can keep it under control, it is the best friend that a person can have, because once it is under control, this is a person who will help you in properly digesting the food material, keeping your temperament or the body temperature, and also that it will help in proper evolution. Like all of us know that each of our cells are completely undergoing that transformation process. So that transformation process, we understand it as ATP, by the ATP in the cells and all that. So these powerhouses are all only because of this pitta available in us. And then comes the kapha. Why kapha? Kapha is actually component of Prithvi or the earth and the water part. So if I, as I see many people who might have actually played with mud and water, right? So why is it necessary? Because only when you have this mud and water, you can actually shape it out. If you have mud also, if you have water also, you cannot shape out anything. But if you have both this in combination, you can actually shape out many things. For pottery itself is a great example. You have actually the Panchamahabhutas, but the main component is actually the structural component is made up of this earth and water. And in us also, the structural component, what you see me, when you see me, I am actually a person who is made up of this Prithvi and Jala. And then the other components are actually part of our whole process. And this Prithvi and Jala is the Kapha part. Now, these are also where there are so much various divisions are there in Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. In that, actually, Pachaka Pitta, there is actually called a Pachaka Pitta, which is actually responsible for digestion. And then the Kledaka Kapha. Kledaka Kapha is one which actually gives that moisture to the food, because when you take food in a solid form, you are not able to completely digest it. You need some liquid material also to it. All of us would have studied about digestion. No? That liquid material will help in properly assimilating it and properly digesting it. So that liquid material will be provided by this Kledaka Kapha. And then there is a vata which is very responsible, because once you have the fire, you should have some oxygen content also, right? You cannot deny that air component, which is very essential when it comes to the fire getting burned, or the ignition will not be proper. So that ignition will be proper only when we have that samana vayu, which is actually present in the stomach. So all these three components, like as I told you, vata, pitta, and kapha, are very important. It plays a great role in properly helping in the digestion of the food. And then comes the proper transformation. Once the food is properly digested, it gets transformed into all these tissue elements. And the same Agni is that which is responsible for many diseases also. So that is why when you go to a Ayurveda doctor, the first thing they'll ask you is hunger, and then how about your bowel habit, and then how about your urine habit, and how about your sleep? Because all these four patterns are all strictly connected with this Agni itself. Once you have a proper digestion itself, your normal pattern of life will come up. Because for example, like once you have a heavy food, how will you feel? I think it's only 2 days after Diwali.
Sleepy.
All of us would have had a sumptuous meal, right?
Sleepy,
Yes.
heavy,
Sleepy,
not like to do
because
anything.
exactly.
Lethargy.
Yes.
Brain doesn't work then, not that way.
This is
Brain is
because
less activate.
what happens here is that the body actually squeezes all of the strength to digest the component that is very heavy for the body itself to digest. So that is why the mitahara is very important. Whatever you take, you have to take in a way that it is easily digested by the body. And the timing also is very important. You get up in the morning, after nearly 1 to 2 hours, within that 1 to 2 hours itself, you should take your food. Otherwise, your body will be deprived of what is required to the body. That is why early morning was actually suggested to be getting up. And when you have to get up in the morning, obviously you have to take your previous meal also at least 3 hours before your bedtime. And then you go to bed also in an early way. It is not that you should take your food itself at 9 o'clock and go to bed by 12 o'clock. Simply no, a big no to it. You should actually take your food by 6:37 or at least by 7:30, complete it off, and by 10 you should be at bed. So what happens is, yeah, okay, great. And when you actually take the food, which is in such a manner, what happens is the body itself gets its amount of time, and at the same time, there will not be a rush for the body to actually digest whatever is consumed, and the proper transformation takes place. If there is not proper transformation, only it will go to a disease. So this should be a daily habit, not just 1 or 2 days. And then comes, I got a question from Shashibala madam. It is like the local grown plants. I should say that very true, because in Ayurveda, what is mentioned is that whatever herb is associated with you or near you only is going to help you the best. But what happens? Now we don't have any vana near us to procure all the material that we have. So the best thing is search for fruits, vegetables, rice, grains that are available near you, and do not go for food that is actually alien to you. Nowadays we can see avocados and all that here, but I think it is all foreign to us. We did not have all these in our during our lifestyle. Actually speaking, whatever we have near us, or which are very seasonal, taking a guava actually helps us better than taking an avocado, because we have the inheritance also. There is a point called gut inheritance, wherein our body accepts what is there in our inheritance rather than actually taking whatever is very very alien to us, which is not at all commented to us. So if at all you're taking that, then you will have to compromise with, in a way it is not creating any difficulty in the body. So all that has to be taken care. It is easiest to follow what is very common to us, and then try to use mostly cooked food, because as I told you, we have this fire, but the problem is that all of us have a problem in digestion also. I'm not talking only about the age people. I'm also talking about people who are of even 15 years now. Because I get patients here just with the problems of digestion. They're not able to feel the hunger at all. And so that is actually it is a problem, because it can only be digested only when it is properly cooked. In Ayurveda, raw food is not much of accepted, because that anywhere in Ayurveda we do not want an indigestion to happen. That is the only concern. Let me tell you that now many people are using sprouts and all that. It is all fine, but you have to use it at least steamed. If you don't want to fully cook it, at least do half steaming. So that will actually give you a better digestive power than rather without cooking. Okay. So I think I can stop here now for this point on Agni. Rather, I would hear some questions from you so that more of discussion happens then.
Hello, this is Rani here. So I would like to eat fruits, but then we are supposed to eat 3 meals in a day, and
Okay.
I do not have much time, cooking for the family and then separately cutting out fruits and then eating. So what is the proper way of introducing fruits in our daily diet?
Actually, fruits, yeah. So it's a good question. Let me tell you that fruits are actually components which will get digested even in 20 to 30 minutes. So do not always mix it with material that like cereals. It's always best to take it as such, because cereals or pulses are all materials which will take time to digest, at least a minimum period of 3 hours. And when you mix it together, what happens is there is a mixed kind of digestion, which is not healthy, because you will have more of acidic reactions also, rather than becoming the body becoming alkaline. So give some time, like for example, after 10 o'clock, from 10 o'clock to evening 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock, you can have in between, instead of tea, like people have some tea or snacks, no, in between, like by 10, 10:30, 11. During that period, it's best to have fruits. And at the same time, evening after your meals, if you want to take by 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock, instead of the same tea, you can actually have a fruit. And it is not advised also that you have to take too much of food, too much of fruits, because taking more of fruits itself is becoming a problem now. So you can take a quantity like 1 or 2 fruits. You can have it as a mixed fruit, but rather take it as single fruit. That's the best, because always you should not combine two kind of taste. It is always best to have one taste. One taste means like if you have this gua itself, it is morely sweet in taste. But at the same time, if you have avocados with gua, it is like you have bitter and sweet, which is actually contradictory. It is better to take one. Yeah, when you say about the salad, you have to be very selective when you use the. It is best to use the same taste with the salad. Like for example, you take apple. Maybe you can take with apple. You can take gua. That will not be a problem. But even papaya is not a problem. But at the same time, if you take pineapples and all that, that is actually more into sour taste. So you will have to combine more of sour taste itself with sour materials. That will be the best way. Okay. We have some questions. Okay, vegetables, fruits, and spices. Yes, that is a nice question. Now,
Ma'am, one more question.
Yeah, please.
So, when we are talking about Agni, right?
Yeah.
How do we keep the Agni awake, or how do we rise the Agni? Because, as you said, after Diwali or any heavy meals, after heavy meals, the Agni subsides and the digestion take place properly.
Yes.
How do I keep the Agni active always?
Okay, great. Now, actually, as per our tradition, let me tell you, our sweets are actually considered as a medicine itself. In Tamil Nadu, they follow a specific medicine itself for Diwali. They call it Diwali Lehyam. And that is taken as a regular thing during the Diwali period, only to help in improving the digestion and to remove any problems that might arise due to it. So, simply telling, you have to actually eat mita. That is not possible in case of your festivals and all that. But at the same time, we can do one thing. You can use some digestives. Like the basic digestive is ginger. You can take 1 spoon of ginger juice with a little bit of honey. That is actually very good in improving your digestion. You can take dry ginger, which can be boiled in water, and you can sip through that. You can sip through the day. What happens is it will help in proper digestion. At the same time, you will not feel thirsty also. Like when we take more of sweets, you feel a kind of sweet taste, you feel a kind of throat irritation and all that. So that will all be removed when you're using that. And dry ginger is one of the best materials because it will not irritate your stomach. Like when I tell about ginger, please do not go to the extent that you are chewing ginger. It is only that you need to take half teaspoon. That will be enough. Half teaspoon of the squeezed ginger and with a little bit of honey, so that honey is actually alkaline in condition. So when you have the proper honey, it is actually alkaline. It has got a kashaya rasa as per Ayurveda, which is very effective in our body conditions. Like it helps in digestion. It is not heavy as we think. It is actually aiding to reduce whatever unabsorbed material is there, whatever that it will help remove also. It has got a property of chedana, we call. It's just like it will scrape out whatever is not required by the body and remove it out. So all these are possible when you're taking proper honey. So you can actually avail this honey only from this forest people. So try to have connect with the forest people, and then you get the proper honey. And that honey you can take with this ginger juice. If it is not possible, try this dry ginger that is easily available also. You don't have to worry about. You can even also make it that fresh ginger. You can just dry it in shade after you make it into pieces. It's done.
Can I ask you that
Yeah.
what is the difference between the dry ginger and fresh ginger?
Actually, fresh ginger is more into katurasa. It is called that you have that spiciness more. In fresh ginger, dry ginger, what happens is the spiciness will be a little bit reduced. The capsaicin content, we can say that spicy tinge will actually be reduced. And when you actually use fresh ginger after digestion, also it has the same spiciness. But in case of dry ginger, it turns sweet after digestion. That is the best thing.
Can
So
honey
when
be
you
taken by diabetic patients?
yes, it
Honey
can be taken by digestive person.
daily?
Any people is not a problem. Even by
Okay.
diabetic people also, it is not a problem.
Thank
Because once it gets digested, no, when anything turns sweet, it is actually very favorable to the body. The body will not turn acidic. Once it turns acidic only, it will have many problems.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. How to? Because people are suffering
Aramya,
from acidity, hyperacidity. Does it help? Dried
Hello?
ginger. Dried ginger,
Pardon?
does it help in acidity also?
Acidity also it can help, and you can do one thing. If you have acidity problem, then you have to actually boil it with milk. Then it is a medicine for the acidity itself.
Okay.
It is like you have to take one piece of dry ginger, mix it with 4 parts of milk and 4 glasses of water and 1 glass milk. Reduce it to the quantity of milk, and when you take it, that itself becomes a medicine for acidity. Even garlic can be taken like that. That is also for acidity. It is helpful for cholesterol, reducing your cholesterol. Such conditions also it will be very helpful.
But it has to be boiled, no?
yeah.
Yes, it has to be surely
Excessively.
boiled.
Excessively.
Ma'am, how about water during the meals?
Yes.
Taking water during the meals. How about that?
Very nice question, sir. I should say it's a wonderful thing. Like actually, as per Ayurveda, you are not supposed to take food before the meals, or you should not take water after the meals, because if you take in front, you're going to actually reduce your hunger, wherein your vata will increase. And if you take your water after your food, you're actually going to increase your kind of sloggingness and all that, and at the same time the kapha will increase. It is always best to sip in water in between. When you sip the water, you are not creating any disturbance to the digestive fire. We actually, when we call the digestive fire, you can compare it to the hydrochloric acid also. So we're trying to keep the hydrochloric acid intact so that whatever fuel that we are going to put, it is completely burnt off. So we are not trying to dilute in any way. So the importance of water is that we need little water to actually masticate, help in proper mastication, which will actually enable to proper digest. So that water content is required only in sips.
Okay, Aramya, there is this question which I'm seeing. Ma'am, you were telling better digestion during winters. Can you elaborate more on how is Agni related to seasons, which is, I think, very important, because India, we have such a weather conditions, how people would understand that, you know, depending upon, for example, I am in Delhi now, right now it is very cold, and suddenly I'm going to a hot weather conditions, you know, probably anywhere else in India. So how are we going to manage that Agni?
Super. Actually speaking, the Agni actually is consistent with the nature rather than our body, because as per the atmospheric conditions, our Agni actually takes a siding. You know, rather than keeping onto our side, it takes the side of the season where we are in. So when you actually go from a hot climate to a cold climate, you should be taking something which is heavy, because there the Agni suits to the climate. It is actually that the body is keeping in contact with the cold climate. So when it is in a cold climate, the body itself, the atmospheric condition will be cold, and the body has to keep yourself warm. That is why the Agni will flare up. And when you're in a summer season, the atmospheric condition will be warm, and where you cannot have the Agni high. If you have the high Agni, then your body will be gone. Your degenerative tissue, the degeneration of tissues, the eating away of tissues, everything will happen. Eroding, everything will happen. So the body itself has a natural capacity to bring down the Agni to a normalcy. It is actually moderation that is the body itself is doing. But here what you have to do is try to use materials as such. One of the best material will be to take ghee during this shift of season. The shift of season, because ghee is the only media which can withstand very hot climate or very cold climate. It will be conducive to the constitution of our body. So what happens is, even when you're shifting to many places, when you're taking proper amount of ghee, it will help you the aid the digestion also, or moderate your digestive power. What happens is, in cold climate, the Agni you're taking will be easily digested, and in warm climate it will be slowly digested, but it will be properly digested if you give the body your time, and it will help you in removing the problems also, what can actually exist.
Yeah, Dr.
Okay.
Aramya?
Uh,
please,
I have
another question, please.
Shashiji, should I?
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay.
God.
Now I wanted to now I wanted to talk on behalf of so many other people. As you were talking about ghee, there is a lot of myth surrounding the intake of ghee, because it is so called, said by the doctors or health practitioners, that is ghee is not good for your health. It is going to create a lot of trouble to your weight, especially those who are obese. Also, there is also saying that it can create a lot of cholesterol in your body. So I just want you and request you, in fact, to clear this myth also, and also please let us know that how to take a ghee, because what I feel is, even at home in my place, whenever we take ghee, the ghee is not taken as it is, in the solid form. It has to be melted, and the melted form has to be added to the food. That is how it has to be taken. That
Actually,
is clearly
thank you for
taken.
putting this question, Aparna, because it's a very important and valid question, right to the point. Because when we are speaking of Agni, I should be speaking of ghee for sure, because that is one which is
Yes.
stabilizing the Agni itself. So here, when we say that Agni and ghee, you all of us would have seen a homa, how it is developed, right? Generally, they start with a small fire, and then the pandit has a thin spoon in which actually it takes a little ghee. And have you seen how it has been dropped?
Yeah.
It is actually in liquid form that it has been dropped into the fire, because only then it catches a fire very easily. Now, I said this because it is the same in our body also. Always the ghee should be taken to a temperature of our body, and that is why we are trying to liquefying it. So what happens is, when we take it to a different temperature, like a warmer temperature, it is conducive to our body because the temperature is the same, and it will help absorption by our body also in an easier pattern. You are not creating a conflict of interest in the body and it will be very happy to absorb the ghee in a very proper manner. And let me tell you, it comes in the it is actually one of the media which can be easily absorbed by the body when taken in proper limits. When I say ghee is to be taken, please do not take spoonfuls. It is only maximum of 1 teaspoon that we require in our body per day itself. Okay, and that is also to be taken only in the liquid form, so that it is properly digested. And then second thing is that this is one of the best material that can trespass the blood-brain barrier. So if you have to improve your brain, if you have to improve your memory power, intellectual power and all that, this is the best medicine. I can assure you that it will not improve your cholesterol. It will only help reduce your cholesterol levels and improve your HCl. HDL, it will actually improve because it is one of the non-saturated fatty acids. Okay, and it will be improved
Wonderful.
only when it is taken in proper levels. Because we have seen that in a treatment called Snehapana, we give patients even up to 300 milliliters. 300 ml,
Oh,
until
okay.
300 ml also the patient is able to digest it. But there is only a difference that we do not give them excess food. We give them only kanji, very light food, no? Easily digestible food material only will be given. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, Dr.
And
there are 5 kinds of all the 5 elements. Panchamahabhutas exist in our body in 5 different forms. So can you please explain that which are the 5 different forms of Agni in our body, like Jataragni and all?
Like Agni itself, 5
Agni
different forms.
in
I'm not getting
5 different forms of Agni in our body.
5 different forms of Agni. I am not sure,
Agni in
because
our body.
what we learn is actually Dhatwagni, Panchamahabhutagni. Like every Panchamahabhutas has got a specific Agni. For that to get, why it is important is that any food material which is having the importance of each Panchamahabhuta will get absorbed by the body only by its Agni. When that is actually reduced, what happens is, if the earth component is more, say for example, you're taking mamsa or any meat material, when you have the earth component with that Agni only, you will be able to absorb the earth component of the mamsa, or you will have only that water component of it going to your body. So when you have to have the compactness of the mamsa to get into your body, you need all your 5 Panchamahabhuta Agni also to be very strong. Secondly, you will need each dhatu. As I told you, each dhatu has also got its specific agnis, so that each of your tissue elements are also properly nourished. Because in many diseases, like for tuberculosis is one of the best example, what happens is, after rasa, none of the dhatus will get any of the nourishment. So what happens is, all the tissue elements will undergo depletion. So you will see muscle wasting in many of the people who have undergone the disease of tuberculosis. And such is like in many diseases also, you can see each of the dhatu Agni is also very important. And then comes the main Agni, which is actually very important. Apart from that, I can only understand maybe the Jnana Agni, Jnana Agni, which is important for obtaining the knowledge. You should not have any factors which is kind of hindrance to what you want to achieve. So remove that, and your Agni will be really fiery. I can. One of the questions here,
Could I
I
add to,
Okay.
excuse me,
wanted to really
could I add to
speak
what
on.
you're saying, Aramya, regarding the
Yeah,
Agnis?
yeah.
I'm Dr. Rama Devi from Hyderabad. And
yeah,
what you're
please.
saying is, what Madam asked is Jataragni, the fire in the stomach.
Yeah,
the
Jataragni
Agni
is
the
yeah.
Jataragni. And when this Agni is too much, it's called, when it is less, it's called Mitagni. And when it is
okay.
yes, and then
Okay.
when it is normal, it's called Mitagni. When it's less, it's called it's
Mandagni,
addressed in another way.
Mandagni,
And when it is too
Krishnagni.
much, it's called when it's too much, it's called
Yes.
Atyagni. So that's what she means. So, and this, it definitely acts upon the acidity of the system. So you have to
Okay. It is
monitor that
actually like,
particular Agni along
yes.
with your
I
stomach.
would say
And
like,
you were
I would say
saying,
like each of the Agni is very important. As you said, it is actually the degree of Agni, which is very, it is actually connected to the doshas also. When you have Mandagni, it is like very low appetite or very low digestive fire. It is because
Correct.
presence of kapha.
Correct.
And then you have the Tikshna Agni, which is actually because of Pitta. As I told you, you have to combat or be friendly with your Pitta only because when you have to add enough quantity of food, or your Agni will be very Tikshna, very sharp. And then comes the Vishama Agni, wherein you have actually, most of the people have this Vishama Agni. Either you're hungry or not hungry at all. So it's like two poles. You are not in the mid. You are actually fluctuating between either no hunger or more of hunger. So that is actually the Vishamagni. So all of these are actually speaking, it is a problem. And the Samagni, it is called Samagni, in which actually it is a normal. The Jadragni is a digestive fire I was talking about actually. Okay. And Samagni is one which actually helps you maintain all your tissue elements in a proper level. You will have proper digestive system. You will feel hunger. You actually, the grumbling of stomach, no, you should actually feel. The problem is that nowadays we don't wait for that. We just wait for the clock to tick. So try to attend to your body clock and then tick the time. That will be good, especially in case of Agni.
And you were saying that
Right.
raw food is not permitted. Actually, Ayurveda very much recommends raw food. And for us, all over the country, the chutneys that we eat, the pudina, the kothmir, or down south, we eat all the vegetables as raw chutneys. So, well, all the vegetables are cut and probably sorted or even otherwise, like the coconut chutney and all the fresh ones. So, I would define chutney as raw, spiced, mashed salad, which is
Now,
very easy to consume. So which
actually-
is very much recommended because it contains, to which we add all the spices, the methi, the jeera, the dals, all these are added, the ajwain,
Right.
the red chilies,
Yes,
the green
that is
chilies,
what I
the
wanted
hing,
to
the
ask you
garlic,
also.
adrak, all this is added, jaggery, tamarind, everything is added, and it's a very it's a spicy. It may be comfortably spicy, but mashed vegetable, which is easy to consume, unlike the international salads, which you have to chew for a long time.
Yes.
And these chutneys you can add to curds and have, which you must include in your diet pattern for all your patients.
Actually speaking, you said a very
Yeah,
good
Ramya.
point. It is based on the traditional and the seasonal materials. Like, each place has got our chutneys also. But in all of these chutneys, you have some helper, like a digestive material. As you said, ajwain, even chilies,
Right.
at least chilies will be added. Not like the regular salads they have, because that salads will not get properly digested by us. But when it is actually mashed and when
Right.
you have some digestive in it, it is not going to create a problem. But you were telling about the curd, right? Curd is actually, you should be taking it according to your climate. When you have a very hot climate, it is better to retain, or it is better to shift to buttermilk rather than taking curd, because curd is a bit heavy to digest. And when you have, as I told you, in case of summers, your digestive fiber will be a bit low. So during that period, it is better to take buttermilk, which is easily digestible, rather than taking curd. But at the same time, in cold climate, you can shift to curd. That is not a problem. And especially at night, you have to avoid. Yeah.
Curd itself is very medicinal in Ayurveda as well as any of the international system because of the lactobacillus it contains.
Yeah,
and curd in various forms of dilution is itself treatment. Suppose you beat up, you take pure, if somebody's got any kind of stomach ailments, you should give them sweetened curds, either with jeera, which immediately settles any kind of stomach problems. And if you dilute the curds into various forms, 50-50%, 75-25, or 4 times, 6 times, for kidney stones, etc. If you give buttermilk 8 times, 1 cup of curds, to dilute it to 8 times.
Yeah, that is what. Actually speaking,
melt the stones and
so many
out.
types of buttermilk has been mentioned.
Yes.
Even as you said, the curd itself, if it is beaten into just beaten, and even if the butter is not been removed, also it is a medicine. But as I told you, it should be based on the climate you are in, because only based on the climate you will be able to digest it. Let me tell you, if you are in Tamil Nadu, I would say it is better to take buttermilk, because once you take curd rice, you will be like you are going to sleep the whole day. So that heavy it is. So at the same time,
can I also add that if the curd is taken in a different, for example, for a lot of people who has a vata, they cannot consume curd, in any form, like
it is more of pitta. If you have more of pitta, you should not take curd.
Yes.
Yeah, because
you should not take curd.
Yes. It is because
so this is also one primary reason.
Yes. because the problem comes with pitta and vata is that when it is in a normal position, it is not a problem. But once you become a deceased person, you should be
Correct.
able to make sure that you're not taking curd, because the curd has one of the properties called abhishandi. You have that sliminess, right? That sliminess
Correct.
will actually create a problem wherein there can be a inflammatory condition in the body, and so that is why we try to ask them to avoid. But if you're quite healthy, there is a condition called okasatmya, wherein you are liable to take curds once it is actually very favorable for you and your body constitution. So it is not that you should not take curd at all, but you should take curd based on your circumstance and based on your seasonal climate.
Absolutely.
I just want to
I
put my
will tell my
opinion
own
on.
example itself, because I cannot consume curd for different reasons. My body cannot take, despite, having a lot of love for the curd, I cannot consume curd. And if I'm talking about my father, who's 83 years old, he consumes curd very frequently, and he's perfectly normal, perfectly healthy, perfectly okay. So consuming curd, I think, is also depending upon how the person's physiological conditions
Yes.
are based. So this is also one of the most important thing that we should keep in mind. If you feel there is,
If the
your
curd
body is giving the
not,
signal.
if I may say something, if the curds is not sour, or it is not at an extremely low temperature, if it's at the room temperature, anybody during the wake hours before
Yes.
the sunset can consume the curds and they can digest it. And if they have any
Yeah.
issues, they can add ajwain or jeera, and curds will help digestion. And it, because of the lack
Actually, in
of
Ayurveda, also they have mentioned that curd, whenever it is taken, it should be taken with amlaki, or as you said, any of these digestive material,
Correct.
or at least with the green gram powder, because these are
should be
actually
taken
helping it
dressed.
to properly digest.
Since we are discussing about curd, I will want to add something
ma'am.
here.
Yeah, please.
My teenage son is very fond of curd. So he used to have one
Okay.
cup full of curd. Suppose if he had it in the morning, by evening he would start getting pimples, and it was very obvious, and it was that
See, that is
fast.
actually the
So when I
yes,
visited
it
an
is actually the
Ayurveda
inflammatory condition in the body.
yeah, when I visited an
What about-
Ayurvedacharya, he immediately asked me, does he eat curd? I said, yes, he eats curd and he eats lots of it. So this is the change you can see within. If morning the face is
Correct.
clear, in the evening you will have that person, or especially the teenagers, they would start getting pimples. So it is
Yes.
that fast. You can see it.
Okay.
Hello, ma'am. This is Shweta.
Yeah.
Is it okay to take a ragi drink first thing in the morning?
Yeah, it is
Or-
fine. It is fine. Mainly making sure that you should add a little bit of ghee to it, because
Yes, ma'am, I'm
ragi
doing-
has a tendency
I'm
to
doing that
create
already, ma'am.
constipation. Yeah, generally when we prepare it in the traditional way also, we add this jaggery, and also it is best to add this palm sugar rather than taking the normal jaggery. It is even best when we add the palm jaggery, and then you can add a little bit of ghee, which will help you in actually assimilating the material also, because it's a very good source of calcium.
I just started adding some almond oil, little ghee, some black sesame seeds powder, some dry fruits powder, and some milk, some crushed coconut thing, and then
Okay.
make the ragi drink. Because
Super.
what's happening is, because of online classes, my children are eating at 11 o'clock. So the first thing first, by 8:30, sometimes after they go for a workout and come back, they're not able to eat. So this is what I'm giving. Is it okay, or what do you think? Is it like, does it go well?
It is fine, but actually
Yes,
do not put off
absolutely.
your breakfast to a very late period. That is
It's
also
11
there.
o'clock. 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock.
Yeah, but I
give
still
boiled
say
egg.
it is better to keep it early. You can reduce the quantity of ragi that you give a little bit, so that they get hungry nearly by 10 o'clock or so. At
But
least by
I know
10.
they're having continuous class. That's the reason.
Oh, okay.
8:30
Fine.
to 10:30.
Because of this online classes, you have to shift many things, I think.
Yeah, that's one. I give boiled egg and this drink. That's fine, right?
Okay. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. And one more thing.
We have a
people
question from
bloating.
some
One more
Harshvardhan.
thing, please. One more thing. Does
Yeah,
ragi develop bloating or something? Is it possible?
Actually, no, because generally that's why you add this jaggery and a little bit of ghee is added only to help in removing this distension and also the constipative condition. So that's why I said the ghee is important. If you are adding any other material like other pulses, all that also it is fine only. You are not going to create any problem because these are some of the materials which are very conducive to the body. And once you're cooking it also, right? Not just
Yes, ma'am.
mixing it. Yeah, then it's fine. Completely fine.
Thank you, ma'am.
Is it okay
Yeah,
to
we have a question from some Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan. Yeah, please go ahead.
is it okay to eat green chilies?
Green chilies, in moderation, it is fine, but not too much. In moderation, when I mean that, because you can see the hotness is more actually when you use the green chilies, but it is one of the best medicines also for stomach cancer. That is how it has been understood. But if you are able to take it in moderation, it is not going to create a problem. Don't take it as such. Like just like in vada pav and all, I think you have it just like green, no? I think that can be avoided a bit.
No, once
Ma'am, is there a
with the
difference
milk
between
or
green
with
chili
the
and the
buttermilk.
masalas that we have?
I'm not able to get you.
Yeah, once when we add it with buttermilk.
Yeah. So that is okay. You are going to add only half a chili or so. No? That will not create a problem.
Yeah, ma'am, can I ask you a question? I have a
Yeah,
brief
please.
question to ask you. You talked about one teaspoon of ghee every day. Now there's a lot of talk about cow's milk, ghee of cow's milk, and not buffalo milk. So how realistic is that?
Actually speaking, there are quite a lot of difference between cow ghee and buffalo ghee because the buffalo milk itself is very heavy to digest. That is why the ghee also has the same property. But the cow ghee is actually literally having the opposite. It is very easy to, it is good only. It is heavy to digest, but it is very conducive to the body as such. So when you're taking that 1 teaspoon, it will not be that heavy as you take of a buffalo.
So that's recommended. So you would recommend ghee of cow's milk, in other words. Okay, thank you.
Surely. Aparna?
Ma'am, is there a difference
Yeah,
between
can
green
we-
chilies and the masala powder we have?
I think we'll have this as the last question. Yeah, please, Devang.
Yeah, ma'am, I was asking, is there a difference between the raw green chilies or the green chilies which we cook in our food, or the masala powder, red chili powder or garam masala that we have?
Yes, of course. You know, like when you're using the green chili, you know that the quantity. But at the same time, the powders, the masala powders, in that actually the coriander and all will not be a problem because it is more alkaline in condition. But at the same time, if you're going to add more of red chilies and then you're going to add more of this very spicy materials like this ginger and all that, no, then it is actually going to create a problem. So that is why it is always like best to mix it in a way that it is not much spicy in taste. It should be moderate spicy. That is always the best.
Got it, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, because the spices that is also advocated like clove, the cinnamon, all that, no. Actually, the cinnamon has got the sweet taste also, but still it is advocated only in very small quantity. So it is, in traditional way also you can see, and at the same time, in case of medicines also you see that we use very little. It literally means that you need only that quantity to help in digestion. You don't need large sumptuous material.
Thank you so much,
Okay.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Aramya, we are not going ahead by, presenting, right?
No. That's fine. I just had pictures
Okay.
only, so no, it's not a problem.
So you can, but you can
Okay,
share your
all right.
screen and present. You can, Dr. Ramya, you can screen share. You can
No
share
problem.
your screen
Hello, I'm
and show
No.
the
I just it's not a problem because I just wanted to share some pictures so that it's easily understandable. That's fine.
Hello.
Completely fine because whatever I wanted to say, I
Basically,
have already
she's
said.
Hello, I am Saraswati.
I want to ask one thing about what about the nuts? They say that you could include nuts in your food.
Yeah.
So,
Actually, you know what? I had a friend of naturopathy doctor. She have already told me that you need only 4. You need to only take 4 numbers if you are taking nuts.
only
So that
4
can
numbers.
actually mean that, 4 numbers means that the very, very minute quantities of magnesium, silica and all these type of metals that we require, or the minerals and metals that we require in our body, are available in this nuts. That is why we are advised to take nuts, but we should not take it in larger quantities. That is why the number 4 is mentioned. You can take maximum 4 to 6. I would say that 6 is the best. Just stop it there.
And when,
Whatever
ma'am?
nuts you
in the
take.
morning.
When, ma'am?
I
At
take
what
walnuts in the
time during the
morning.
day?
And
Pardon?
then
It is
some
best in the morning. Breakfast. Breakfast.
Yeah.
It is better for the breakfast.
But I also take walnuts and all those afterwards.
That's fine. That's fine. Actually, you can take it better at the breakfast, so that because the breakfast is advised to be like a king. That actually means the quality of the material. So this is actually, these foods come under the quality of higher standards, and it will be digested properly throughout the day. That is why it is best to be taken at breakfast.
Breakfast. Okay.
6
Thank
of
you.
each
Okay.
type or just
I
6?
actually have to leave now, Aparna ji, because I have some patients waiting.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right,
you so
all
much,
right.
ma'am, for your time and for your
Um,
contribution. Thanks a
Okay.
lot for the knowledge that you shared. It's
Thank you.
precious. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Very happy to be part of it.
Have a good
So
time.
tomorrow we'll meet tomorrow.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
So tomorrow by
Yes.
5:30 we'll be again.
Ramya. We look forward to see you tomorrow.
Sure.
And hopefully
Thank
tomorrow
you,
we
Dr.
will-
Aramya.
So sorry, I have to rush it now.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you, Aramya. Thank you so
Oh
much.
yeah, bye. Bye. See you, Aparna. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone here. Thank you so much, Shashi ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Yeah.
Aparna, could you share the invite for the other sessions as well, please?
Who is it? Dr. Rama Devi who's speaking?
This is Uma.
Yeah, hi Uma. Yes, I'll be sending. Can you just drop your email ID here?
Sure. I've dropped my phone number, if that works better.
Is that okay? All right. Let me just check if. Yeah. All right.
8879625355.
Hi, Aparna.
One second. Let
Is
me
this
just.
is this recorded? Because we live in a different zone, so want to find out if it's
yes.
recorded. And
Yes.
So
This is
it is recorded and soon it will be available on YouTube and the link can be shared on websites, our Facebooks.
One second.
Yeah.
can you share your
So
Facebook as well?
what is your Facebook? What is your Facebook
This is-
address?
Mine is Shashibala, Dr. Shashibala, and I'll send you the link. And Bhavan's Facebook is also there, Bharatiya Vidya Bhavan Center of Indology. And then
Okay.
Aparna
And
has a
mine
Facebook.
is.
Yeah, Aparna
I
can
have
share on
as
Facebook.
mine is in the name of Anantam Mind Studio. I'll be putting up in the Facebook as well as in the YouTube too.
Yeah, I'll put on the YouTube. Yeah.
So YouTube, what will be the name?
We can. I think
We will be
can. Yeah, it's today's program was on digestive system, na? Because many
Yeah.
people may not understand Agni. So we'll talk to Dr. Aramya and give finally something that people can
Something.
understand really.
Okay.
So Ayurvedic way of digestive system or food and digestive system according to Ayurveda. Some title will be given so that people can really understand, those who do not know Sanskrit and Hindi and all these things.
Okay.
Neeraj ji, the YouTube link will be shared very soon. This is Bhavan from New Delhi, actually, not Mumbai. Shashi ji is
Yeah,
heading
it's
there,
New
and
Delhi,
I
yeah.
stay in New Delhi. Yeah, I stay in New Delhi
Yeah.
too. Ananta Mind Studio is also operating from New Delhi right now.
Facebook
And
page.
we will be sharing, we have your numbers. Get in touch with us, because I think I could have shared the poster with all of you. And I will share the link and all the details to you. And as Shashiji also will share every detail with you. Please join us tomorrow also at 5:30 so that we can do everything.
Yeah.
All five
Congratulations,
topics will
Dr.
be covered in
Shashibala. Very well done.
Yeah, Shashibala.
Dr. Shashibala,
Yeah, my
congratulations.
Thank you
Very
so
well
my
much.
conducted.
Facebook is in the name of Shashibala.
Thank you so much. And I would really like to thank you, Shashiji, for, really organizing this and, getting all of this program so wonderful and very successful. I'm happy that we have reached more than 100, and I'm getting a lot of messages. Almost some 50 to 60 people are waiting to join in. So I couldn't really make them to join in because there is no way that we can do it. So maybe in the next couple of days, we should do something and make more people to join into this, program.
Yeah, I'll try for tomorrow's meeting so that more people can join. I'll ask the engineer how to do it.
Certainly. Thank you so much for
so
doing
let's
this.
see, and people should have our emails. People can have our emails and they can drop emails.
Sure. Yes, certainly. Yes.
I have shared my number also.
Yes. I have shared mine.
Have you shared your number and your email?
Yes, I shared.
Okay, fine.
I've shared my number.
Okay, fine. All right. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so
all.
much. Thank you all of you all for joining us.
For joining also, I thank everybody.
Yeah.